Recently, a series of brush fires have been devastating a section of Australia, and it's been particularly harsh on koalas living there. You might have seen this video floating around the internet involving a koala named Lewis. Take a look.
Can you move back? Oh, what in there? Get me.
So obviously that's just a devastating video to watch, and it's a reminder of we have these fires in Australia. There were terrible fires last year in Europe, California, and we've had entire towns burned up. People die, huge amounts of animals as well, even here in California. Now, tragically, that koala, Lewis, later succumbed to its injuries. It had to be put down because it couldn't survive the amount of damage that was done to it from these fires. And it goes beyond even Lewis, as tragic as the one is. The chairman of the Australian Koala Foundation estimates that over 1,000 koalas have been killed from the fires and that 80% of their habitat has been destroyed. And looking to the future, recent bushfires, along with prolonged drought and deforestation, has led to koalas becoming, quote, functionally extinct, according to the Australian Koala Foundation. So that does not mean that there are no koalas left, but it means that in the very near future, that is entirely possible. Functional extinction is when a population becomes so limited that they no longer play a significant role in their ecosystem and the population becomes no longer viable. While some individuals could produce, the limited number of koalas makes the long-term viability of the species unlikely and highly susceptible to disease, because as you have less diversity, even if their population was to recover to some extent, there's less resistance to disease in future generations. And in terms of the number of deaths that can be expected in the near future, because their prime source of food, the eucalyptus that supposedly each koala eats on average about 2 pounds per day, they will recover, but it might take months or even longer for that to happen. And in the meantime, many koalas will simply starve to death. Now, this is not a universal opinion. There are some that believe that the situation for koalas is not quite so dark, but it is possible that this could be the beginning of the end for that species. And look, by itself, that's devastating. And if you would like to do something to help, there is a charity GoFundMe set up, Help Thirsty Koalas Devastated by Recent Fires. It has raised quite a bit of money. And there's a push inside of Australia for legislation that would be designed to help protect them in the future. But it goes beyond the koalas. This is a terrible tale, but it's also a cautionary tale, because it is likely that unless we pass something like a Green New Deal and rally countries around the world to do something about climate change, the sorts of conditions that lead to fires like this will become more common. And a story, this month it's koalas functionally extinct. For the rest of our lives, we will see stories like that. The end of one species of plant or one animal that will no longer be there. An inability to do agriculture in a particular country. That will be the story of climate change. Yes, it will be increased heat on average and rising oceans, but it will also be the destruction of habitats and species. And we might one day look back and say, hey, remember koalas? Remember these animals that we used to have? Let's not create a future where that's the way we look back on creatures like Lewis and the rest of his species. So let's take this seriously. Let's protect these species, but let's also go beyond that and do something serious to deal with climate change to make these sorts of wildfires less likely to happen in the future. Thank you for watching this clip from the Damage Report. For more content from the show and access to TYT Network members-only exclusives, go to tyt.com/Brooke. Wait, no, it's tyt.com/John. Go to tyt.com/John to sign up.